Hi guys, welcome back. So it's the Road to Tokyo series. In between the Six Nations and announcing the World Cup squads, I want to look at some topics that have interested me. And the first one is law changes. And we're always looking to improve sport, and the IRB is always looking to tweak the rules and make them better. So I'm just going to put out my current top 5 law changes that I'd like to see brought in. But just remember, this is a fun thought exercise, so I encourage you guys to put your top 5s in, but don't get too heated if you see someone's law or see one of my laws that you don't like, because it is just for fun, so just chill out there. Okay, so first of all, what's the point of changing the rules? Well, certainly safety is a big one these days. Can you make the game a little bit safer? Can you make it more exciting at the same time? Encourage creativity, which is what people want to see, and plus it's what players enjoy doing. And finally, can you encourage children to take part and take up the sport? So really that's what I was thinking about with these 5 rule changes. Some maybe a little obvious, some a little bit controversial. But anyway, let's go straight in with rule change number 1. First of all, the maul is a fantastic thing. It can be a beautiful thing in rugby, but I think it definitely is being overdone. 5-metre mauls from a line out is just slightly a bit too easy way to score for me. It discourages creativity. I love the physical contest of the maul, but I would have as my first rule change a maul exclusion zone off a line out from about 15 metres out, I would say. So sure, you can kick up to 5 metres out from the try line, but if you're within that 15-metre exclusion zone from the try line, you can't maul straight from a line out until that line out's over. Just to encourage creativity, to make the game more interesting. If you still want to have a crack at mauling to the line, have a go from 15 metres out, see how far you can get. So I generally think that would retain the maul but encourage creativity. So I quite like that one, that's why I put that one in there as number 1. Okay, law change number 2. So I'd like to ban not the latch on the ball carrier altogether, but latching on the ball carrier before they go into contact. It's a great technique, and of course I coach it and everyone coaches it because it's so effective, but latching on, like an extra player binding onto the ball carrier or 2 extra players binding onto the ball carrier before they go into the tackle, for me is unfair. I think it's against the spirit of the game. You want to see that one-on-one contest to start with, and then I would say you can latch on as soon as contact has been made. That's fine. Help the player through the contact rather than have a group of 3 players running at 1 or 2 players trying to tackle them. Because I think what we've seen is as teams get close to the line, they're just using this big latched on groups of players to slowly bosh their way, unstoppably to the line. So sure, use big runners, but don't latch on until you make the contact. And it would, again, encourage people of thinking more creative ways of getting to the try line. So that's why it's law change number 2. Okay, law change number 3. Kicking at goal. Again, it's a good part of rugby. It's a fantastic skill. It's good to watch. But I do think 3 points for a kick at goal is too much. Considering it's 5 for a try, 3 for a kick, you can win games just by kicking and never get anywhere near to scoring a try, which I think is wrong. I think rugby, the aim of rugby should be to score tries and then supplement it with kicks. So I'd simply drop down kicks at goal from 3 points to 2 points. I haven't decided on drop goals. Drop goals are a bit harder, so maybe they should stay as 3. I don't know. Let me know on that one. But for a try, I'd keep the overall score as 7, but I'd increase the score for a try to 6 and the conversion to 1. So I'd just be depowering the kicks at goal, again, to encourage people to run the ball more, to be more creative, still reward good kicking, but making it more about the whole team. So that is law change number 3. Law change number 4. So I would change the clock. Okay, I would change it from a running clock. I know they stop the clock for injuries and things, but I would actually go a bit further than that and have it as an in-play clock, where the clock is only started when the ball is in play, i.e. it's come out of a scrum or it's left the line out, for example, like they do in basketball, say. I think the reason I go for that is all it does is it will guarantee a certain amount of in-play time. And as the game evolves, it becomes more commercial, and you want to encourage fans and players. You want to see at least an amount of in-play time in a game, rather than just loads of stoppages, etc. So the number that would be, I think, needs to be like a big study to work out kind of averages, but also at what point of in-play time do injuries really escalate. So you don't want to say, oh, let's do 50 minutes of in-play time, and you just get more and more contact injuries. I'm imagining it's going to be around the 35-minute mark, something like that. But then you just, again, it'll create a time limit on certain things, and it will stop like the scrum wasting loads of time. If the scrum does go down a few times, you're not wasting any time because it doesn't start until it's out of the scrum, say. So I would go for that, actually. An in-play clock, it wouldn't really change the game, to be honest. What it would do, though, is just guarantee a set amount of in-play time. Okay, and law change number 5, which is the most controversial, but bear with me, is I would reduce the number of players on the pitch. Okay, so that is quite a big change, for sure. But why? There's just not enough space on the rugby pitch now. Players are so fit, they're so big, they're so strong. The defensive lines are very strong. Sure, you can kick to break that line, but again, I want to encourage the running with the ball a little bit more. You could make the pitch bigger, but logistically, that's a bit of a nightmare. You'd have to redesign all stadiums, etc. Land's at a premium in Britain and Ireland, especially. So I'd go for one less player in the forwards, one less player in the backs. So that would probably mean you'd have 2 back row, say in a scrum, packing down at any of those slots, and also probably 1 centre, although I guess you could arrange it however you want. Now, I know some of you may be freaking out and thinking, well, that makes it 13 players, that means it's rugby league. Well, that would be the only thing that's similar with rugby league. It's just a number of players. The rules, the laws are exactly the same, so don't freak out about that number. But less players on the pitch, I generally think could make for a more exciting game. Anyway, I would encourage you guys to put down your top 5 laws, comment on those ones, say which ones would work, point out the pitfalls of some of these things, because there are always problems with changes. But I'd also say, don't be afraid of change. I mean, in rugby, things that have changed recently, like you've got the bonus points in the Six Nations. And when I was asked, what do you think of bonus points in the Six Nations? I was like, fine, I'm sure it'll be fine. And all these people came out saying, you can't change the traditions, and now it's happened, it's fine. Same with TMO, etc. So it's not the fear, I don't fear change, but definitely you want to trial it and see how it impacts the game. You should always be trying to improve the game. Anyway, bit of a fun thought exercise. Pop down your 5 laws below, law changes below, and until next time, I will see you then.